Today's question is from Maggie, and Maggie wants to know how to not waste any paper when she's doing a craft. This is the Creative Crafters Podcast. Hi, I'm Bette from Bette's Make, and this is your questions answered. Well, I'll tell you right now, you are going to waste paper, but the best thing you can possibly do is always a test cut, but use just plain ordinary copy paper when you're doing that. Now, I know copy paper is 8.5 by 11, but since you're only doing a test cut anyway, you can actually tape a couple of pieces of paper together to make your 12 by 12, and that can be your sample paper that you're working on. For example, my husband does a lot of crosswords, but he has an electronic newspaper he gets every day, and he prints them out so he can sit at the breakfast table and do his crosswords. When he's finished with those crosswords, there is some paper left over because it's only printed on one side. I grab all of that paper, and when I need to do a test cut, all I do is just tape it together so it makes 12 by 12 and put it on a mat. And then when I go to do a cut for the first time, I want to make sure that at least it's a test cut so I can cut things out initially and not worry about wasting the paper. When I know it works off my test paper, then is the time to put the real cardstock in place and start cutting. And that is the best way to do it. And also, wasting paper also comes from making different projects that don't quite fit on 12 by 12, but they're a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11. If you really don't want to waste your paper, just make sure you resize things in Design Space so it fits on 8.5 by 11. Now, one little thing about 8.5 by 11, you'll have to take off a 1/4 inch on the side and a 1/4 inch on the top because that's what Cricut requires when it goes to do the cut. So Design Space always has a 1/4 of an inch on all four sides when it hits near the end of the mat. So try and space everything in there. If you're going 8.5 wide, go 8.25 wide. If you're going 11 wide, go 10 3/4 inch wide, and you'll fit everything into that paper. So that's just my little tip on trying not to waste any paper by using scrap paper in a test cut before you get to the real thing. This has been the Creative Crafters Podcast and your questions answered.